someone who's a crypto or blood or a drug addict in the street. They don't know anything about the Bible or God. They're cold. Then it's us. In the UPK, we are what? Hot. That's us.
Straight out of One West, I'm too hot. My grandma keep on telling me I need to cool out. Quick to pull the scriptures out, pull the two locks. It's the home of the truth, my nigga, and you not hot, hot, hot. We hot, 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 hot. We hot, 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 hot. We hot, 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 hot. How many fake groups must get dissed before they really figure out who the Lord is with? I'm about to burn Babylon with these bars of spit. Niggas swearing they won't beef, well let's start some shit. I roll with warriors with swords and sticks, so keep stepping. Without a mind shit, this brotherhood is a weapon. This nation we protected, head for Armageddon. Told them niggas no sweat, but these other niggas are sweating. Can't take the heat, nigga get out the kitchen. Ain't nothing these niggas saying you can find in the scriptures. They still in our breakdowns and trying to convert a gripper, trying to do the Lord's work, but he fell in love with a stripper. We can't afford to be playing around with the Lord. It's one God, faith, and baptism on one accord. If you ain't a hot nigga, you might as well hit the morgue. My niggas gon' stand firm while you niggas fall on your sword. Straight out of One West, I'm too hot. My grandma keep on telling me I need to cool out. Quick to pull the scriptures out, pull the two locks. It's the home of the truth, my nigga, and you not hot.
H-O-T-T, what that mean? Gotta spell it out. Home of the priest, got the truth, that's without a doubt. Niggas getting winded, need to breathe, cause they chasing clout. What the priest is banging, not so heavy, gonna break it down. We in your town, boots is on the ground all year round. When the summer, spring, and fall, we prophesying to the clouds, so cry loud. I say your ass at home, cause life is all about war. Don't make me go blasting chrome, and they go to each his own. Nah, to each his own. We taking over the world, bringing the prophets home. And I dare any of you fake niggas to stand in my way. You niggas is gay, you wearing purple panties, you great. Wearing your fringes on socks on the block, talking to cops, trying to make an arrest. Think you on West? We ain't calling you out, that's why no affiliation. We don't fuck with you out, because we... And you know this, man, and if it ain't the UPK, then it's bogus, man. Your Honda had to remind us what the code is, man. And now we hot niggas, but we still the coldest, man. Because
if I ain't a hot boy, then what do you call that? And if I ain't a hot boy, then what do you call that?
We set a blaze to the street when we prophesy to the wind. You be amazed with deceit, false prophets feeding our king. We set a fire to them lies in hope they open their eyes. Most niggas wouldn't see the truth, and if it's written on the blinds, they peeking out to see the real priest who change the lives. Commander General, your Honda, that's on us out here to teach. You niggas done drop your swords, now you thieves like preachers, looking for another way round and ain't got no discipline. Tainted worse than the warriors in Southeast Michigan. We aware that you been listening, visiting online. You ain't my bone on my bone, cause you ain't got no spine. You weak in the mind, your vision is so filled with your pride. And you can keep it cause ain't no cowards gonna hold our line. You out here led by individuals, practicing wicked rituals. You ain't a hot boy cause you falling what these bitches do.
Straight out of One West, I'm too hot. My grandma keep on telling me I need to cool out. Quick to pull the scriptures out, pull the two locks. It's the home of the truth, my nigga, and you not hot, hot, hot. If I ain't a hot boy, then what do you call that? Hot, 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 hot. And if I ain't a hot boy, then what do you call that?
All right, Shalom Israel. Yahweh Shai brought a thumb to the brothers. Yahweh Shemar Allah thumb Basham Shai to the sisters. Priest Officer Parak to my right. Priest Officer of 1,000. Matazar. All right. So if you're watching online, you can see at the bottom of the screen, you can see our class location. All right, we have classes from every Tuesday through Friday, from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. And then, of course, today, which is Saturday, which is the Sabbath. Every Saturday, we have our Sabbath service from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. All right. So today, what we're going to be going over, what is the spirit of Jezebel. All right. We're gonna dive into who Jezebel was, because a lot of people they like to associate Jezebel with whoredom. You see a woman that's dressed a certain way. A lot of Christians will say, oh, she got the spirit of Jezebel on her. But of course, that's not what Jezebel was known for in the Bible. All right. We're gonna find out who she was. We're actually going to talk about Ahab as well. So I titled this class, What is the Spirit of Jezebel? But we're also going to talk about King Ahab, who is a wicked bastard of a king. And we're going to talk about him too. All right. So we're going to get you brothers and you sisters to examine yourselves and see if you wicked like that brother and that heathen. All right. So we're going to go ahead and get started. All right. So just metal clear imagine. Everybody else, imagine. We're
gonna start with the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. Avanawa,
Shabbat
Shemayim, Kodash, Hayah, Shemka, Yahweh, Malakwatha, Taba'ah, Ratazaka, Hayah, Aisha, Ba'rataza, Kawa, Hayah, Bashamayim, Nathanawa, Lacham, Kal, Yawam, Waslachnawa, Chawathinawa, Kasalachnawa, Chawathinawa, Wala'ah, Tabayanawa, Banasaya 1, Abal, Hawashai, Mayan, Rai, Kaya, Laka, Hamlakwat, Wa'ala, Wa'athaparat, La'aiwalamyum, Aman.
All right, the Lord's Prayer in the English. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
Hallowed be thy name.
Yahweh, thy kingdom come.
Thy kingdom come.
That will be done in earth.
That will be done in earth.
As it is in heaven.
As it is in heaven.
Give us this day.
Give us this day.
Our daily bread.
Our daily bread.
And forgive us our debts.
And forgive us our debts.
As we forgive our debtors.
As we forgive our debtors.
And lead us not into temptation.
And lead us not into temptation.
But deliver us from evil.
But deliver us from evil.
For thine is the kingdom.
For thine is the kingdom.
And the power.
And the power.
And the glory.
And the glory.
Forever.
Forever.
So be it.
So be it. We're going to read Hakah, which means the power in the Hebrew. Yahweh. Ba'ashem Yahushai. Baba Kashah. Nathanawa. Hakah. Larapa'ah. Kama Ka'al. Wakal. Madawa. Hakah. That's a hard. Hamat. It's like Hamat Zarayim. Hakah. Lahakwayam. Hamatyam. Hakah. La Rakawa, it's like Al Rakawa, Hatima Allah, Lagarshan, Ba'ashem Yahushai, the water Aman.
The cock in the English. Yahweh.
Yahweh.
In the name of Yahushai.
In the name of Yahushai.
Please give us the power.
Please give us the power.
The power to heal all manner of sickness.
Power to heal all manner of sickness.
And all manner of disease.
And all manner of disease.
The power to cleanse the lepers.
The power to cleanse the lepers.
The power to raise the dead.
The power to raise the dead.
The power against unclean spirits.
The power against unclean spirits.
To cast them out.
To cast them out.
In the name of Yahushai.
In the name of Yahushai.
Thank you, so be it.
Thank you, so be it. We're going to read Psalms 121 in the Hebrew. Asha'ah. Ayanya. Al. Aharya. Mayan. Yaba'ah. Isaiah. Ma'ain. Yahweh. Aisha. Shamayam. Wa'rataza. Al-Yathan. Lamawat. Ragalka. Al-Yawam. It's like Shamarka. Hana. La'ah. Yanawam. Wala'ah. Yayashan. Shawamar, Yasharala, Yahweh, Shamarka, Yahweh, Tazalka, Al-Yad, Yamyaka, Yawamam, Hashamash, La'ah, Yakaka, Wayarak, Balayala, Yahweh, Yashamarka, Makalrai, Yashamar, Athnapashka, Yahweh, Yashamar, Taza'atka, Waba. It's like Waba'aka. It's like Waba'aka. Ma'aitha. Wa'id. Iwalam.
All right. Psalms 121 in the English. I will lift up mine eyes into the hills.
I will lift up mine eyes into the hills.
From whence cometh my help?
From whence cometh my help?
My help cometh from Yahweh.
My help cometh from Yahweh.
Which made heaven and earth.
Which made heaven and earth.
He will not suffer thy foot to be moved.
He will not suffer thy foot to be moved.
He that keepeth thee will not slumber.
He that keepeth thee will not slumber.
Behold. He that keepeth Yasharala.
He that keepeth Yasharala.
Shall neither slumber nor sleep.
Shall neither slumber nor sleep.
Yahweh is thy keeper.
Yahweh is thy keeper.
Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand.
Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand.
The sun shall not smite thee by day,
the sun shall not smite thee by day,
nor the moon by night.
nor the moon by night.
Yahweh shall preserve thee from all evil.
Yahweh shall preserve thee from all evil.
He shall preserve thy soul.
He shall preserve thy soul.
Yahweh shall preserve thy going out
Yahweh shall preserve thy going out
and thy coming in,
and thy coming in,
from this time forth
from this time forth
and even forevermore.
and even forevermore. We're going to read Psalms, the 83rd chapter. In the Hebrew. Allahayim. Al. Dama Yalaka. Al. Takarash. Wa Al. Tashakwa. Al. Kaya. Hana. Awayabyaka. Yahama. Yawan. Ra'ash. Al Amaka. Yaira Yumwa. Sawada. Wayatha. Yaitizaw. Altazapawanyaka. Amarwa. Lakawa. Wanyaka Kadam. Magoya. Wala'a. Yazakar. Sham Yashra'ala. Awada. Kaya. Nawa Aitizaw. Laba. Yakadwa. Ayakab. Baryad. Yakarathwa. Ahalya. Adawam. Wayashama Aliyah. Mawaba. Wahagaryam. Gabal. Wa'aimawan. Wa'aimalat. Palashad. Amyashabya. Tazawar. Gamashawar. Nalawad. Imam. Hayawab. Zarwad. Labanyalawat. Salah. Aisha. Aisha Laham. Kamadyan. Kasaya. Sara'ah. Kayabyan. Banakal. Kayashwan. Nashamadwa. Ba'ayan the Arab. Hayawa. Daman. La'adma. Shayatamwa. Nada. Yamawa. Ka'ira. Wakaza'aba. Wakazabak. Wakazabak. Wakatazal. Manai. Call. Nasaya. Kayamwa. Ashar. Amarwa. Nayarashab. Lanawa. Ath. Nawath. Alahayam. Alahaya. Shayatamwa. Kagagala. Kakwash. Lapanya Raka. Ka'ash. Taba'ira. Ya'ira. Wakala Haba. Talahat. Harayam. Khan. Taradatma. Basa Iraka. Wabasa. Wapatka. Tabahalam. Mala'a. Panyaham. Walawan. Wayabakashwa. Shamka. Yahweh. Yabashwa. Wayab. Bahawa. Ayai. Wayakaparwa. Wayabadwa. Wayadaiwa. Kayatha. Shamka. Yahweh. Labatka. Alyawan. Alkal. Haratazah.
All right, Psalms 83rd chapter in English. Keep not thou silence, O Yahweh.
Keep not thy silence, O Yahweh.
Hold not thy peace.
Hold not thy peace.
And be not still, O Yahweh.
And be not still, O Yahweh.
For lo,
thine
enemies make a tumult.
Thy enemies make a tumult.
And they that hate thee have lifted up the head.
And they that hate thee have lifted up the head.
They have taken crafty counsel against thy people.
They have taken crafty counsel against thy people.
And consulted against thy hidden ones.
And consulted against thy hidden ones.
They have said.
They have said.
Come.
Come.
And let us cut them off from being a nation.
And let us cut them off from being a nation.
that the name of Yasharallah
that the name of Yasharallah
may be no more in remembrance.
may be no more in remembrance.
For they have consulted together with one consent.
For they have consulted together with one consent.
They are confederate against thee.
They are confederate against thee.
The tabernacles of Edom,
The tabernacles of Edom,
and the Ishmaelites,
and the Ishmaelites,
of Moab,
and
the Hagarenes,
and the Hagarenes,
Gabal,
Gabal,
and Ammon,
and Ammon,
and Amalek,
and Amalek,
the Philistines,
with
the inhabitants of Tyre.
the inhabitants of Tyre.
Assur also is joined with them.
Assur also is joined with them.
They have hope in the children of Lot.
They have hope in the children of Lot.
Salah.
Salah.
Do unto them as unto the Midianites.
Do unto them as unto the Midianites.
As to Sisera.
As to Sisera.
As to Jabin.
As to Jabin.
At the brook of Kisan.
At the brook of Kisan.
Which perished at Endor.
Which perished at Endor.
They became as dung for the earth.
They became as dung for the earth.
Make their nobles like a red.
Make their nobles like Oreb.
And like Zeeb.
And like Zahab.
Yea.
Yea.
All their princes as Zabah.
All their princes as Abba.
And as Amunah.
And as Amunah.
Who said,
Let
us take to ourselves.
Let us take to ourselves.
The houses of Yahweh.
The houses of Yahweh.
In possession.
In possession.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Make them like a wheel.
Make them like a wheel.
As the stubble before
as
the wind.
the stubble before the wind.
As the fire burneth the wood.
As the fire burneth the wood.
And as the flame setteth the mountains on fire.
And as the flame set the mountains on fire.
So persecute them with thy tempest.
So persecute them with thy tempest.
And make them afraid with thy storm.
And make them afraid with thy storm.
Fill their faces with shame.
Fill their faces with shame.
That they may see thy name.
That they may see thy name.
O Yahweh.
O Yahweh.
Let them be confounded in trouble forever.
And let them be confounded in trouble forever.
Yea.
Yea.
Let them be put to shame and perish.
Let them be put to shame and perish.
That men may know that thou.
That men may know that thou.
Whose name alone.
Is
Yahweh.
Is Yahweh.
Art the most high over all the earth.
Art the most high over all the earth. Blessings in the Hebrew. Barakatha Yahweh.
Barakatha Yahweh.
Wa Yahweh Shai.
Wa Yahweh Shai.
Wa Malika Allah.
Wa Malika Allah.
Wa Lahayim.
Wa Lahayim.
Matazab Ya'ah.
Matazab Ya'ah.
Alawap Yahana.
Alawap Yahana.
Ha Alawapyam.
Alawapyam.
Ha Saranyam.
Asaranyam.
Ha Kwatazayanyam.
Akwatazayanyam.
Ha Kayayalyam.
Akayayoyam.
Wa Ha Kwatham.
Wa Hakwatham.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Ba'ashem.
Ba'ashem.
Yahweh Shai.
Yahweh Shai.
Tawara Aman.
Tawara Aman. All right, blessings in the English. Bless you, Yahweh.
Bless you, Yahweh.
And Yahweh Shai.
And Yahweh Shai.
And Michael.
And Michael.
And the angels.
And the angels.
Commanding General Yohana.
Commanding General Yohana.
The generals.
The generals.
The captains.
The captains.
The officers.
The officers.
The troopers.
The troopers.
And the sisters.
And the sisters.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
In the name of Yahweh Shai.
In the name of Yahweh Shai.
Thank you, so be it.
Thank you, so be it.
All right, sorry about your shopping. You can be seated. All right, so we're going to be today, we'll be in 2 Kings, the 9th chapter. All right. Once again, we're going to find out who Jezebel is. We're going to go over this thing. So we actually start 2 Kings 9, and we're going to start at the 30th verse. All right, we're going to read 7 verses in the Hebrew, and then we'll read those same 7 verses in the English, and we'll break it down. Where we start? 2 Kings 9 and 30. All right. So this is verse 30. Yahweh Yazarai Allah wa Ayazabal Shemai Watasham Wapawaka Ayanya Watayatab Ath Ra'asha Watashakwap Ba'id Hakal 131 Wayahawa Ba Basha'ira Wathamar Hashalawam Zamarya Harag Adanya Wa, verse 32 Wayasha'a Panyawa Al Hakalawan Waya Amar Maya Athia Maya Wayashakwa Yapawa Ayawa Shanyam Shalasha Sarah Yasayam Sarah Yasayam, verse 33 Waya Amar Shapatwa Waya Shamatwa Wayaza Madama Al Hakwayar Wa Al Hasarat Yasam, Slaki. Hasar Sayam, Waya Ramas Na, Waya Ramasana, Salakia. Verse 34, Waya Ba'a, Waya Salakia. Waya Akal, Waya Shath, Waya Amar, Pakwadwa, Na'a, Ath, Ha'ar, Salakia. Ha'ar, Wara'ah, Haza'ath, Wakabarwa, Kaya, Bath, Malak, Haya, verse 35, Wayalakawa, Lakobara, Wala'a, Matazawa, Ba'a, Kaya, Hagalah, it's like a Hagal, Galath, it's like a Waharag Layum, it's like you. Wakapawath, Hayadyum, verse 36. Waya Shabawa, Waya Gayadwa, Lawa, Waya Amar, Dabar, Yahweh, Hawa'ah, Ashar, Dabar, Bayad, Ibadwa, Aya Hawa, that's like Alahayawa. Salakia. Hatashabwa, La Amar, Bakal, it's like a Bakalak, Yazarai Allah, Ya'akawa, Hakal Bayam, Ath, Bashar, Ayazabal. All right, so that was the 7 verses. Read. So let's get those in the English, right? So we'll be once again 2 Kings, the 9th chapter. All right, 2 Kings, the 9th chapter.
Good.
2 Kings 9 and 30.
Book of 2 Kings, chapter 9, verse 30.
So I want everybody to understand something. What we're doing right now is we're starting at the end of the story. All right. Y'all ever seen them movies? They start at the end of the story and then they wind it back, right, and they tell you why this happened. Well, we're about to read something. This is the end of Jezebel's story, right? You got it.
Verse 30. And when Jehu was come to Jezebel heard of it,
mm-hmm,
and she painted her face and teared her head,
mm-hmm,
and looked out at a window.
So Jehu who was to be anointed as a righteous king. All right. Ahab was the king that was prior to Jehu, but Jehu was anointed king by, I believe it was Elisha, right? By the command of the Most High, because Ahab was such a wicked king, he needed to be replaced with somebody that was righteous. So Jehu was the one that replaced him. Well, Jezebel, right? Jezebel was King Ahab's wife. All right. So let's just keep reading. I want everybody to keep that in mind while we go through this. All right.
Verse 31. And Jehu entered in at the gate and said, had Zimri peace, who slew his master?
Uh-huh.
And he lifted up his face to the window and said, who is on my side? Who? And there looked out to him 2 or 3 eunuchs, right? Eunuchs.
So he said, who is on my side? And he looked and he saw two or three eunuchs, right? Let's see what he does with them, right? Because Jehu was a warrior, all right? Jehu was a man who, yes, he got anointed to be king, but he was absolutely a front lines warrior, all right? Now keep that in mind, right? Keep going.
33. And he said, throw her down.
Do what with her?
Throw her down.
Right. So now listen. He said, throw her down. He's talking about Jezebel. He's telling these 2 or 3 eunuchs to throw Jezebel down. Keep going.
So they threw her down, and some of her blood was sprinkled on the wall and on the horses.
Mm-hmm.
And he rode her, and he rode her foot, and he trode her underfoot.
So now he took this broad. Now, well, listen. This is the terrible thing. So these eunuchs took this broad and threw her out of the window, right? And her so hard that her blood was sprinkled on the wall and on the horses. So she went splat. You understand? And then he trode her underfoot. I mean, what does that mean? He ran ass over with them horses, right? Keep going.
And when he was come in, he did eat and drink. And when he was come in, he did eat and drink, and said, Go, see now this cursed woman, and bury her, for she is a king's daughter.
And we're gonna find out which king that she was the daughter of, right? We'll get that in just a second, but let's get through this part, right? Go ahead.
And they went to bury her, but they found no more of her than the skull, and the feet, and the palms of her hands.
Right. So they went to bury her, but they found no more of her than the skull and the feet and the palms of her hands. Keep going.
Therefore they came again and told him, and he said, This is the word of the Lord which he spake by his servant Elijah the Tishbite, saying, in the portion of Jezebel, shall dogs eat the flesh of Jezebel.
Right. So now we're going to see this prophecy. As we move on, we'll go back and we're going to see where this prophecy was made by the Lord and given to Elijah. But let's keep going.
And the carcass of Jezebel shall be as dung upon the face of the field in the portion of Jezebel, so that they shall not say, This is Jezebel.
Now we understand this is a pretty cruel thing. We all understand that this is a cruel thing that's happening, and it was so you saw how clearly it was depicted. They threw her ass out that window, and blood was sprinkled all over the wall and on the horses. I mean, she had an absolutely that was a horrific death. You understand? Well, why does she deserve to die like this? Let's get 1 Kings. Let's go all the way back to the beginning. Let's get 1 Kings, the 16th chapter. We're going to see what she did to deserve this horrible, harsh punishment from the Most High, this judgment from the Most High. So give me 1 Kings 16, and we'll start at verse 30.
Verse 30. Book of 1 Kings, chapter 16, verse 30. And Ahab, the son of Omri, did evil in the sight of the Lord above all that were before him.
So Ahab was, at this point, was the most wicked king that had ever ruled in Israel. And we're going to find out why. Right? He said he did evil in the sight of the Lord above all that were before him. And it was some pretty wicked kings, man. You understand? It was some kings that did some very wicked things prior to him. But we're going to see what he did that was wicked above all the others. Keep going.
And it came to pass, as if it had been a light thing for him to walk in the sins of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, that he took to wife Jezebel.
He took to wife who?
Jezebel.
He took to wife Jezebel. That broad that we just saw got her blood splattered all over the place and got that cruel punishment, that harsh punishment from the Most High. Well, he married that broad, right? Jezebel, keep going.
The daughter of Ethbaal, king of Zidonians.
So now she is a Sidonian. Now let's actually, matter of fact, before we keep reading, hold that. Give me Genesis, the 10th chapter. We're going to see who the Zidonians are. All right. So we can see what nation she comes from. Is she an Israelite or is she a heathen? We're going to find that out. So let's get Genesis, the 10th chapter, and then we'll get the 15th verse.
Genesis chapter 10, verse 15. And Canaan begot Sidon, his firstborn, and Heth.
So it says, and Canaan begat Sidon. Now it's his firstborn. Now we all understand Canaan is one of the sons of Ham. You understand? This woman is a Hamite. So this brother who is called to be an holy man, right? An Israelite, we're called to be a holy nation, a set apart nation, right? This brother then went and married some heathen, some African heathen, some Hamite. So she was of another nation. We can understand all throughout the scriptures that the Most High tells us that we are not to go in unto the other nations, and He explains why. And
it's like especially on Deuteronomy, the 6th chapter.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? It goes into the Hamites, all the African tribes. You know what I'm saying?
Gone. And we're gonna see why. Right? Keep going.
On verse 31, right?
Gone. Yeah, end of 31.
Okay. Book of First Kings, chapter 16, verse 31, end of 31, and went and served Baal and worshipped him.
So this is why the Most High told us not to deal with the heathen nations, because this brother Ahab went and he got married to a Zidonian, and it just so happened that the god of the Zidonians, or the god that they serve, is Baal. Now, if anybody don't know who Baal is, Baal was a farmer. He was an excellent farmer. All right. He was an excellent farmer, and when he died, people began to worship him, especially in times of drought and things like that, because they believed worshiping him meant that their crops would be successful. You understand? But of course, he was no god. Of course, we all understand that, right? It doesn't take a genius to figure out that some man that was really good at farming and then died he's no god. You understand? But that's who Baal is, and that went on to be a god that was, it was a lot of people that served him, a lot of people that served that false god. All right, and so now, this king Ahab gets with Jezebel and begins to serve Baal and starts to worship him. Right? Give me verse 32.
Verse 32, and he reared up an altar for Baal in the house of Baal, which he had built in Samaria. And Ahab made a grove.
So now he made all of these things for a false god. Now this is the difference between this brother and brothers that you see right now getting high and stuff like that. The brothers that you see right now doing all of these terrible things and serving these other gods, they don't even know that they're Israelites. They don't know what it means to be an Israelite. They don't know what it means to serve God. They don't understand any of those things. They grew up on Christianity and serving a white Jesus. They don't know the Most High. This brother, he was raised understanding who the Most High God is. And he understood Israelite culture. He understood all of that. Right. And that's part of what makes this brother so terrible. He understood Deuteronomy 7:3 when it says that you can't go into them Canaanites. You can't go into them Africans. You can't have sex with them, can't marry them. He knew all of these things, and he still decided he was going to go and have sex with an African, make her his wife, and then what the scriptures say in Deuteronomy 7:4, it says they'll turn your heart away from the Most High, and you'll start to serve their gods. That's exactly what happened. You understand? And that's what happened here. And he reared up an altar for Baal in the house of Baal, which he had built. So he built a house of worship for Baal, and of course, he built up an altar within that house, and he reared up a grove and everything. Right? Keep going.
And Ahab did more to provoke the Lord, God of Israel, to anger than all the kings of Israel that were before him.
So he made the Most High so angry, more angry than any king has ever made the Most High. It's like more than any king has made the Most High angry. Let's get Deuteronomy 7 real quick. Since I brought it up, we'll bring it out. So we're going to see why the Most High was so angry. Now, of course, we all understand Deuteronomy. It's like Exodus, the 20th chapter tells us the first of the so-called 10 commandments is what? Thou shalt not have any other gods before me. That's the
Right.
that was because in the Most High, he cared about that thing, right? But of course, this brother decided he was going to serve another god, and we're gonna find out why he decided he wanted to serve another god. Let's get Deuteronomy 7:3. Well, matter of fact, we can start at verse 1.
Book of Deuteronomy, chapter
Excuse me.
7, verse 1. When the Lord thy God shall bring thee into the land whither thou goest to possess it, and hath cast out many nations before thee, the Hittites, the Gershites, and the Amorites, and the Canaanites.
And the who?
And the Canaanites.
So I'm focusing on the Canaanites. Why? Because this woman that Ahab married was a Canaanite woman, right? She was the son of Canaan. I mean, it's like the son. Goddamn. She was the daughter of Canaan, or of a Canaanite, right? Keep going.
And the Perizzites. And the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, 7 nations greater and mightier than thou. And when the Lord thy God shall deliver them before thee, thou shalt smite them and utterly destroy them.
So we should kill them. That's what the Most High said to do with them. But this brother decided he was going to marry one. Keep going.
Thou shalt make no covenant with them.
Thou shalt make what?
No covenant with them.
Now, it's going to clearly bring up marriage in just a second, but we all understand that marriage is a covenant. It's a covenant between a man and a woman. That's that covenant that you make. When you lie down with that woman, you have now sealed the covenant. That woman becomes your wife. And of course, you become her husband, right? But the Most High said, make no covenant with them. Keep going.
No show mercy unto them. Neither shalt thou make marriages with them.
Now, this is extremely important to understand. And this is going to show the series of events that we're about to go into with King Ahab, and with Jezebel. The series of events that we're about to go through is all because of what we see right here. What we're about to read right here in these next 2 verses in Deuteronomy, the 7th chapter. All right. So it said, this is a commandment. Punishable. Listen, this is a commandment that we're going to find out is punishable by death. You understand? Neither shalt thou make marriages with them. Keep going.
Thy daughter thou shalt not give unto his son, nor his daughter shalt thou take unto thy son.
So you cannot marry them, and you cannot allow your daughter or your son to marry them. Keep going.
For they will turn away thy son from following me, that they may serve other gods.
So now, this is why. This is the reason. The Most High always gives us a reason as to why he said what he said. You understand? Why he's telling us to do this? Because it's a logical thing. You understand? It is a logical thing to understand that these other nations, they don't serve the Most High. So if you go and you marry them and you fall in love with them, you might fall in love with their God. You understand? And that's what it says right here. For they will turn away thy son from following me, that they may serve other gods. Keep going if you could.
So will the anger of the Lord be kindled against you and destroy thee suddenly.
So we're going to see why. We're going to find out why the Most High is going to kill Ahab. And of course, that wicked broad that he was dealing with. We're going to find out why she was so wicked, right? And why she deserves such a cruel punishment and death and judgment the way that she received that we just read in the book of 2 Kings. All right. So let's get back to it. Let's go into 1 Kings. We're going to go to 1 Kings 18. Excuse me. All right. So 1 Kings, let me see, 18. Let's get 1 Kings 18 and 1.
Book of 1 Kings, chapter 18, verse 1.
So we all understand, right, that Jezebel, we all can already understand that Jezebel had a hold on this brother because he loved her enough to go and serve her God. You understand? So we know that Jezebel has a strong hold on this brother. Verse 1.
Verse 1. And it came to pass after many days, the word of the Lord came to Elijah in the 3rd year, saying, Go, show thyself unto Ahab, and I will send rain upon the earth.
So now this is at a time of a drought. There was a drought, there was a famine, you understand? And the Most High told Elijah to go and present himself unto Ahab. Now, Ahab didn't like Elijah because Elijah was a man of the Lord. Elijah was somebody who, of course, we all understand Elijah was a prophet, okay? We can start right there. Elijah was a prophet, and he was such an excellent prophet that if you read about Elijah's story, he didn't see death. He was taken up. You understand? So the Most High loved Elijah, and that means, of course, that Ahab would hate Elijah. But the Most High is sending Elijah to go present himself unto Ahab. Keep going, verse 2.
Verse 2. And Elijah went to show himself unto Ahab, and there was a sore famine in Samaria. And Ahab called Obadiah.
This Obadiah that we're reading about is the same Obadiah that there's a book of Obadiah, right? We all understand that. One thing that a lot of people don't understand, just while I'm on the topic, one thing a lot of people don't understand is that a lot of these prophets that you see in the Bible, even like Isaiah, Jeremiah, all of these, Ezekiel, Daniel, all of that, a lot of these prophets were alive at the same time, but Christianity makes you feel like they were in some alternate reality from one another, excuse me. But a lot of these prophets were alive at the same time. Now, this is Obadiah that we're about to read about. So it says, and Ahab called Obadiah, go ahead.
Which was the governor of his house.
Now it says Obadiah was the governor of Ahab's house, right? But we're about to see something in parentheses, because that would make you think that Obadiah is wicked just like Ahab. But let's read that.
Now Ahab feared the Lord greatly.
And whoever wrote this, wanted brothers and sisters to understand that this brother was not wicked like Ahab. You understand? This brother was a solid brother. He feared the Lord greatly. Right? Keep going.
Right. That's why it's good for records like this to be written down. You know what I'm saying? And that's why for you too, make sure your record is perfect. You know what I'm saying? It's like verse 4. For it was so when Jezebel cut off the prophets of the Lord that Obadiah took 100 prophets and hid them by 50 in a cave.
So who did this?
Obadiah.
Right, he did this. Obadiah went and hid these 100 prophets from who? From Jezebel. Because Jezebel, we can see, I'll read it from the top. It says, for it was so when Jezebel cut off the prophets of the Lord, meaning Jezebel was killing brothers, man. Jezebel was murdering the prophets of God. And that's a terrible thing to do. You understand? That is it's a scary situation, right? But that's what she was doing, right? She was cutting off the prophets of the Lord, and Obadiah took 100 prophets and hid them by 50 in a cave and fed them with bread and water. Of course, there was a famine, so of course these brothers is hungry. You gonna say something?
I was just thinking, man, like even Jezebel, like a heathen. I mean, you just look at the brothers, they have wives of another nation. And it's like you could just tell in their face that they're being killed. You know what I'm saying? They're being destroyed in their own homes. You know what I'm saying?
God.
They feel like you think they got a reward with that white woman, but really, that white woman is putting that brother through hell.
Right.
Putting him through so much hell. Not only her, but her people too.
Right.
It's like
no, damn right. So we can see already, right? The spirit of Jezebel. We can see this woman is a murderer. Understand? And she hates God's people. That's the first thing we want to understand about Jezebel. We haven't seen no prostitution, have we? We haven't seen her wearing those skimpy outfits. You understand? What we have seen, though, is we have seen this woman oppressing the children of Israel. You understand? And she's a goddamn murderer. And we're going to get into more, right? Let's skip down to we start at verse 15.
Verse 15. And Elijah said, as the Lord of hosts liveth, before whom I stand, I will surely show myself unto him today. So Obadiah went to meet Ahab and told him, and Ahab went to meet Elijah. And it came to pass.
So now this is what's happening, right? So we saw at the beginning of this chapter, the Most High commanded Elijah to go and meet with Ahab, right? Now it's that's coming to pass, right? Go ahead.
Right. And when Ahab saw Elijah, that Ahab said unto him, art thou he that troubleth Israel?
This is a retarded question, Salakia. And Ahab is asking
Right.
Elijah, probably one of the most righteous men at the time. He's asking, are you the one that's troubling Israel? Let's keep reading.
Right. And he said, it's like, and he answered, I have not troubled Israel, but thou and thy father's house, in that ye have forsaken the commandments of the Lord, and thou hast followed Baal. So like Baalium.
Right. And so of course he's saying, I'm not the one that's troubling Israel. You understand? Because there's a famine going on right now. We understand that, right? He said, I'm not the one that's troubling Israel. You are the one that's troubling Israel. He said, you and your father's house. How? He says, in that you have forsaken the commandments of the Most High and you have followed Balaam, right? Or Baal, right? See, let's get to the next one, right? Give me 21. We're gonna get to chapter 21, but I do want to point something out real quick. So there comes a dialogue. I'll just read it real quick while you're pulling that scripture. I'm gonna just read it real quick because this is kind of like a side note. It's kind of a little bit off the topic of Jezebel, but I do want everybody to understand how righteous Elijah was. All right. So we keep reading on. It says, now therefore send and gather to me all Israel unto Mount Carmel, and the prophets of Baal 450. So now Elijah says, bring 450 prophets of Baal, and the prophets of the groves 400, which eat at Jezebel's table. Right? All of these are wicked men. So Ahab sent unto all the children of Israel and gathered the prophets together unto Mount Carmel. Right. And then so he goes and he asked them, he says, how long are you going to halt between two opinions? Either you serve the Most High and that's God, or you serve Baal and that's God. But pick one, right? Just like Christ said, you can't be lukewarm. Right. Elijah said this. He said, I only remain a prophet of the Lord, but Baal's prophets are 450 men. So he went and stood against 450 prophets of Baal. We're going to find out. If you read down in this chapter, we're not going to get it right now, but if you read down in this chapter, you're going to find out that the Lord killed all of them. You understand? Listen, and he asked the question. He said, whoever's God is real is going to send down fire from heaven. If it's your God, he'll do it. But if it's my God, he's going to do it. Of course, we all understand who the real Most High is, right? We know who the Most High is. So he showed out. You understand? Let's get 1 Kings 21. Let's start at verse 1.
1 Kings chapter 21, verse 1. And it came to pass after these things that Naboth the Jezreelite had a vineyard which was in Jezreel.
Right? So now we just read. Now, remember that first story that we read. This is the same land. Jezreel is the same land that that Jezebel, she would become dung unto that land, right? So this is the land that Naboth dwelt in, right?
Which was in Jezreel, hard by the place of Ahab, king of Samaria. Mm-hmm. And Ahab spake unto Naboth, saying, give me thine vineyard, that I may have it for a garden of herbs, and because it is near unto my house, and I will give thee for it a better vineyard than it. Or if it seem good to thee, I will give the worth of it in money.
So this is King Ahab speaking to a brother named Naboth, right? Or Naboth, however you want to pronounce it, right? And this brother is a solid brother, right? So the king comes to him and says, hey, listen, your vineyard is, I like your vineyard. It's real close to my palace. You understand? So how about this? You give me this vineyard, I'll give you a better one somewhere else. Or I'll just buy it from you. That's what he asked. I mean, that was what his request was, right? Verse 3.
And Naboth said to Ahab, the Lord forbid it me, that I should give the inheritance of my fathers unto thee.
Everybody knew that this nigga was wicked, man. Everybody knew that Ahab was wicked. And Naboth, he understood that he was wicked. He said, God forbid that I'm gonna give you the land that was passed down to me by my fathers, by solid men that serve the Lord? I'm supposed to give this land to you? Absolutely not. He said, God forbid, right?
And Ahab came into his house heavy and displeased.
Now we're about to learn about Ahab. Don't be like Ahab. We're about to learn about him. So he comes into his house heavy and displeased. He's all upset because Naboth wouldn't give him his land, right? Keep going.
Because of the word which Naboth the Jezreelite had spoken to him. Mm-hmm. For he had said, I will not give thee the inheritance of my father. And he laid him down upon his bed and turned away his face and would eat no bread.
So now this is what he did. He was so upset about what happened. It says he laid him down upon his bed and turned away his face and would eat no bread. Excuse me. This brother is throwing a goddamn fit. He's throwing a temper tantrum. He's soaking. This is supposed to be the king of Israel. And this brother lay down on his bed. He won't give me his land. You know what I'm saying? That's the kind of brother that this was. And that shows you, well, we'll keep reading and we'll actually get a perfect understanding, right, of why he's like this, right? Keep going.
But Jezebel, his wife, came to him and said unto him, why is thy spirit so sad that thou eatest no bread?
Right. She asked him, what's wrong? You know, you on a goddamn hunger strike. What the hell is wrong with you? Go ahead.
And he said unto her, because I spake unto Naboth the Jezreelite, and said unto him, give me thy vineyard for money, or else, if it please thee, I will give thee another vineyard for it. And he answered, I will not give thee my vineyard. And Jezebel his wife said unto him, dost thou now govern the kingdom of Israel?
He's saying, aren't you the king? This was a wicked bitch, man. She said, aren't you the king? And then she goes on to say this. Go ahead.
Arise and eat bread, and let thine heart be merry. I will give thee the vineyard of Naboth.
She said, I will give you that vineyard. That's what she said. We're gonna find out how we can all just assume what's about to happen. We're gonna read it, right? Keep going.
The Jezreelite. So she wrote letters in Ahab's name and sealed them with his seal, and sent the letters unto the elders and to the nobles that were in his city, dwelling with Naboth.
Now, what she did was she basically, this is forgery. You understand? She basically, she wrote letters pretending to be Ahab because, of course, he's the one with authority. This bitch didn't have no authority. But she did because she could control Ahab. She could do whatever she wanted with Ahab. And we can see why. How can we see why she was able to control Ahab? Because he was soft. He was soft and emotional. You understand? This brother, I mean, it was two things that he could have done. It was a wicked thing and a righteous thing. The righteous thing would have been, all right, brother, no sweat. You don't want to give it to me, no problem. I'll find some other land. Or the wicked thing he could have done himself would have just been, all right, well, no sweat. I'm just going to take it from you. I'm going to cut your head off, and now this is mine. Now, what are you going to do now? You're dead. You understand? But he didn't do either one of those things. He went home and threw a fit. He pouted. He was soaking. And his wife, his heathen wife, had to come to him and be like, what the hell is wrong with you? Aren't you the king of Israel? You understand? So that's the type of man that can get suckered by a woman, especially a woman like this. You understand? And that's the type of woman this is. They fit perfectly. They go together. You understand? Because the woman that is a manipulative woman goes perfectly with a man that is easily manipulated. It's right. It's the perfect. It's like what people say, a match made in heaven. You understand? That's what this is. That's what they are a match made in heaven. That brother deserved that wicked heathen. You understand? And that heathen deserved that brother. Salakia.
Right.
Because I'd be damned he get one of our holy daughters of Zion. You understand? Acting like this with one of our sisters. Man, listen. All right, but go ahead, Salakia.
And she wrote in the letter saying, proclaim a fast and set Naboth on high among the people, and set 2 men, sons of Belial, before him to bear witness against him, saying, Thou didst blaspheme God and the king, and then carry him out and stone him, that he may die.
So now this is what she said. This is such a terrible thing. And this is how wicked this bitch was. Here's what she did, right? She wrote a letter pretending to be the king. And she said, yeah, proclaim a feast and set Naboth on high. Like he's going to think, yeah, this is a feast for me. Damn, okay, that's what's up. And then kill him. You understand? That's the type of, now this is just, you got to understand, this is such a, this is a sociopathic type of thing that this woman is doing. And she knows how to manipulate people. You understand? And it shows all over this, all over what we read, and it shows that she's a sociopath, man. Which, if you get with any of these other heathen nations, that's what all of them are going to do. They're going to do this same thing on a lower scale, or maybe on this scale too. You understand? But maybe on a higher scale. You understand? It might just kill you or kill your daughter or your son. You understand? Right. Which I was just going into that. I think it was on Wednesday, where you can look it up. So many of these heathens kill their so-called significant other's son or daughter because it was a black man or a black woman.
And it's crazy because there's even a documentary on Netflix I was watching with my rib about a man who killed not only his wife but the kids too. And he planned it out like it was nothing, it's your child, you love your children. But this man, because of how bad his relationship was going, man, it was just crazy, man. And that's these devils, man. That's these heathens, man. You gotta watch out for them. We've been, Commander Giannis has told you, that they are like cancer, man, that needs to be removed.
God.
You gotta watch out for them. If you invite that cancer over, it will kill you, just like Dylan Ruth, and that's evidence. You know what I'm saying? That is proof.
Right.
And it is only evident that they are the devil. You know what I'm saying? They're like the devil, that serpent seeking who he may devour. That lion seeking who he may devour. And you could be it. You know what I'm saying? Or not. Depending on whether or not you listen to the priest and prophet of the Lord. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. Absolutely. You understand? And that's what this bitch was. She was a heathen, and she was, extreme. She was a sociopath, man. And we're gonna talk about that because I think a lot of people don't understand what a sociopath is. Because there's a difference between a psychopath and a sociopath. You understand? And we're going to find out the difference. We're going to talk about it because this woman was an absolute sociopath. We just see what she just did, right? You understand? And she manipulated the king from the get-go. We remember when we first was introduced to Jezebel, that this broad manipulated Ahab into serving his God. Serving her God, which was Baal. Right. And that's why all of this is happening right now. The reason why Naboth has to die is because the king Ahab, he didn't have a regard for his life because he wasn't thinking like a man of the Most High. He was thinking like a man of Baal. You understand? And Baal don't have any moral compass, any moral code, no morality at all. You understand? None of these other guys, none of them. There's no morality about them at all. You understand? Because the Most High, of course, is the Most High. He's the Most High God. He is the God that's in charge, and he's got the answers. But you go to these other guys looking for these, for other answers. You understand? And it ain't none, right? And we can see in his conduct, right? Let's get down to 14. So we see that Jezebel made this, gave this order, right? Under the pretense that she was, Ahab. Now, to save some time, the men carried out this order and stoned Naboth. All right. Now let's give verse 14.
Verse 14. Book of 1 Kings, chapter 21, verse 14. Then they sent to Jezebel, saying, Naboth is stoned, and he is dead.
Mm-hmm.
And it came to pass when Jezebel heard that Naboth was stoned and was dead, that Jezebel said to Ahab, "Arise, take possession of the vineyard of Naboth, the Jezreelite, which he refused to give thee for money, for Naboth is not alive but dead."
Yeah, so she killed this righteous brother. You understand? She killed this righteous brother for, and it was, you think it's for, because she wants to help her husband. It's not. It's because she is an evil, wicked woman that wants to kill every Israelite, and that's what she was. Let's get 1 Kings 20. So down in this chapter 21 and 23. Yeah, let's get verse 23.
Verse 23. And Jezebel also spake to the Lord, saying, "The dogs shall eat Jezebel by the wall of Jezreel.
Mm-hmm.
Him that dieth of Ahab in the city, the dogs shall eat."
And we just remember when we started off this Sabbath service, we started off in 2 Kings, I believe the 9th chapter, right? When this woman got put to death. And what did it say? It said the same thing. This is that prophecy that I said we was going to get to. Read that again if you could.
And him that dieth of Ahab in the city, the dogs shall eat. Sorry, from the top.
No, that was right.
Okay, come. And him that dieth in the field shall the fowls of the air eat.
Now we saw that prophecy being fulfilled in the book of 2 Kings, the 9th chapter. That was the first thing we read, right? Go ahead. You say something?
And it was saying how the only things that was there was her hands, her palms, basically. You know what I'm saying? Her head and her feet. And before that, it was like, who was it that ran her over with the horses? It's like that horse made it soften enough the tissue for all the fowls and the dogs to eat. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So that's all that was there left. You know what I'm saying? It's like it, man.
That's what I'm saying. And so you gotta understand that that's of course one of many things that this woman did to deserve that type of punishment. We just read what she did to Naboth. We understand she was ordering the prophets to be killed consistently. You understand? Because this is the type of woman that is controlling and manipulative. So we haven't read anything about her being a prostitute, being a slut or a whore, anything like that, have we? We haven't read nothing about that. And you won't really find anything about that, right? What you will find, though, is that she is a manipulative, sociopath. And that's the spirit of Jezebel. The spirit of Jezebel is not like the Christian church says where you dress a certain way. Now, should you dress modestly? Absolutely. That's what the Bible says. The scripture says that you should absolutely dress modestly. Understand, if you are a sister. But we also have to understand one thing, that spirit of Jezebel ain't got nothing to do with the way you dress. It's about your actions. You understand? And that spirit of Jezebel is that manipulation. Let's get Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha, because I do want to go over this real quick, because what the problem is with Ahab and with so many brothers today, like now when you think of African, most people look at African and they think like, like them Africans with like the lips in their plates. That's what I think of anyway. But there are actually, when you go into that area, when you go over to like northeastern Africa, it's a lot of women over there that black men, particularly black men, are extremely attracted to. You understand? That they're extremely attracted to. So what we have to understand is that beauty and, how pretty a woman looks and, all of that don't mean a goddamn thing. We're going to find out because that's what happened with him. What happened with Ahab is he stumbled at this woman's beauty. He stumbled at her beauty, got caught up in it. So many brothers like them Arabs. What do you call them? I can't remember the specific one that brothers be trying to get with. But of course, then you got them Asians. You see young Jeezy with that Asian woman.
Persian.
That Asian, them Persian women. But you see Jeezy with that Asian woman, that Asian persuasion. You understand? Brothers have these fetishes for these other women, but we're gonna find out. That that's of course a destructive thing to have. Go ahead.
It's like Ecclesiastes.
Yeah.
Ecclesiastes.
Yeah, 25 and 21.
Book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 25, verse 21. Stumble not at the beauty of a woman, and desire her not for pleasure.
And that's the problem with this brother. With this brother Ahab, he decided that her beauty was enough to lay down with her, and that's so many brothers' problem. So many brothers' problem is you look at a woman for how pretty she is, and so you go and you lay down with her, of course, and that's it. Now you stuck with this woman. Probably got some kids, she probably done got her pregnant, you understand? And at that point, she got a hold on you. But you find out that she's actually a dragon and she's wicked. But the problem is you don't see that at first. And that was Ahab's problem. He looked at this heathen woman. He said, yeah, I got to have her. That was Solomon's problem at one time. Now, Solomon wasn't as wicked, of course, as Ahab. But Solomon had so many wives from other nations that they turned his heart away. You understand? Matter of fact, let's get that. Let's get where Solomon, I believe it's in the book of First Samuel, I think. Right? What Solomon had. Let me see. See, I think it's in first. Might be in the second Samuel. Yeah, First Kings. First Kings 11.
11:1.
So let's get First Kings 11. Now this is going to also show you, because we read, of course, earlier, we read Deuteronomy 7:3. And those were all African nations that the Most High told us not to go in unto. But we about to read something, right? You give me verse 1.
Book of First Kings, chapter 11, verse 1. But King Solomon loved many strange women.
Strange women. Strange women meaning what? They're not Israelites. Anybody that's not an Israelite, right? Go ahead.
Together with the daughter of Pharaoh, women of the Moabites.
So he was getting with them Chinese. Go ahead.
Amorites.
And with the Japanese too. Goddamn. I don't know any brother that ever liked Japan. I guess I don't know. I guess brothers just like anything that's different. What does a Japanese woman look like? I don't know. Do they look the same? I know the men look different. Like the Chinese men and the Japanese men, they look different. But I don't know about the women. I don't know if I've ever even seen a Japanese woman, now that I think about it. I don't know. I know they're not Israel. I know I shouldn't be having sex with them. That's what I do know. But that's what this brother Solomon, this brother loved women. This brother loved women. So, like, that's so many brothers' downfall. Go ahead.
And so many brothers love other women because of what they watch. You know what I'm saying? You got to be careful what you're watching. Your heart's desires is like, what you're seeing, that's what you love. You know what I'm saying? You know what your problem is? You're watching too much porn.
Right.
That's your problem. Mm-hmm. You're watching too much porn, and all that pornography that you're watching is nothing but what? Whores. You know what I'm saying? And the greatest whores are white women. And that's what you love, white women, because they're not like the women that you grew up around with. You know what I'm saying? You didn't grow up around, you know what I'm saying? You grew up around, nothing but blacks and Hispanics. Now you wanted what? A taste on what's on the other side. Or now you just, what you're seeing on the on these websites, what you're seeing on Instagram, what you're seeing on social media. You know what I'm saying? These women you like, you know what I'm saying? You like the what? The Kardashians, you like whatever, you know what I'm saying? That's what you love seeing. You know what I'm saying?
God, and that's, like I said, so many brothers' problem, because it's like you want something that's different. Like you was just saying, you don't want the type of woman that you grew up around. You don't want, your mother's black, your mother's Mexican.
Right.
You don't want that. You want to go and be with an Asian. You want to go and be with some some other, you want to be with some dog. You want to be with a white woman. You grew up, around black people. Your mother loved you, gave all of everything to you, and then you're going to turn on her and go get with a white woman. You understand? But that's, of course, because what you were saying was so heavy, because of what it's what society pushes. Okay, that's what it is. That's what society pushes. Society pushes that black people are ugly, Mexicans are ugly, and white women are the ones that are the most desired. And so that's what you're gonna go for.
You know what's funny is that even Dave Chappelle, talks about the poverty, the oppression of blacks, and then goes and gets with a Moabite.
God.
You know what I'm saying? He goes and gets with a Moabite, an Asian woman. You know what I'm saying?
God.
A woman outside of his race, and so then now, what do you say about that? You know what I'm saying? Now, what can we say about that?
Right.
Is that, is there really love? You know what I'm saying? Are you really talking about love, loving your own people when you get yourself a woman outside of your own people, You know what I'm saying?
That's why, like, I ain't never respected, that nigga Polite ever. But when I saw that he was talking all of that blackity black stuff and that African stuff, and he go and get himself a white woman. I said, yeah. I mean, what do you expect out of somebody that hates his people? I don't know if the cat is an African, if he's a Hamite or if he's Israel, but let's just say, for argument's sake, that he's an Israelite. Somebody that loves Africa more than his own people that are right here, you can just expect him to go and get a white woman. Now, you don't even have. Now you could take it, and it doesn't have to be Africa. If you love your oppressor more than you love your own people, you're gonna get a white woman. You know what I'm saying? You sisters, you're gonna get a white man. That's nasty. It's lucky.
That is.
It's terrible. And see, so we rebuke everybody that does that. And the reason why, now, of course, it's a terrible thing because the Most High said it's a terrible thing. But we also have to understand that there is a reason why the Most High told us not to get with them. You understand? We're gonna read it, right? So keep going. Women of the Moabites, go ahead.
Edomites.
And Edomites. Now, remember that this said Edomites, that this brother Solomon got with white women as well. Keep going.
Zidonians.
Zidonians, which is what Jezebel was. She was a Zidonian, right? He's getting with those two. Keep going.
And Hittites.
So Zidonians and Hittites are the Africans. They're Hamites. Edomites, of course, are white people. And then, of course, the Moabites and the Ammonites, they're Asians, right? So he got Asians, he got Africans, he got white people, he got, all types of women from every persuasion there is, right?
Right.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, most of y'all, what do they call it? Fantasy? Or no, it's a different word, right? Some of y'all, something that you want, you wish you had. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
You wish you had all types of women. You know what I'm saying? In here, we desire the 12 tribes. That's what we want. You know what I'm saying? We want our sisters. You know what I'm saying? You want to have, come on, man. You got sisters, you got Black, Hispanic, Native. You got sisters with, season. You know what I'm saying? Sisters with actual, these sisters are beautiful as fuck. Excuse me for my language, but these women are beautiful. You know what I'm saying? It's time to give these sisters, love, the love that, not the world doesn't even give. Why don't you give your love, to these sisters? You know what I'm saying? Sure. Give your love to your family. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
To your own people. Right. Verse 2.
Sure.
Verse 2 of the nations concerning the Lord said unto the children of Israel, ye shall not go into them.
So just as a side note, we read here what? Moabites, Ammonites, Edomites, Zidonians, and Hittites. We see that Edomites are included there, right? So this is also included in what the Most High said, you shall not go in unto them. You can't marry them. So I know a lot of people try to say that Deuteronomy, the 7th chapter, is only talking about those specific African nations. It's talking about all of the nations. It's talking about all of them. You can't have sex with any of them. I understand that that's your sexual lust and desire, but you can't. Not according to the law of the Most High. I just wanted to bring that out.
Right. Keep going. Neither shall they come in unto you, for surely they will turn away your heart after their gods.
It says surely, not they might. don't have sex because they might make you serve their God. No, it says surely you're going to turn your heart away from your God and you're going to serve their God. Good.
Solomon cleave unto these in love.
Yeah, he clave unto all of them women. He loved all of them women from the other nations. You got the Moabite god Dagon. You got the Zidonian god Baal. You got all these different gods, and he loved all of these women that served these gods. And we're going to see what happened. Keep going.
Right. And he had 700 wives, princes, 300 concubines, and his wives turned away his heart.
So his wives did what? They turned away his heart. They turned away his heart, just like the Bible said would happen. Now, here's what I want people to understand, because I don't think a lot of people listen. I don't think a lot of people listen to the Most High. I don't think they listen to what we say. I don't think anybody just cares about serving God at all, because the Most High tries to warn us about all types of things. He tried to warn us in Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. We didn't listen, and then those things came to pass. Well, another perfect example is this. The Most High warned all of the children of Israel in Deuteronomy, the 7th chapter, and said, don't go and have sex with these women, because you're going to fall in love with them, and they're going to turn you away from serving me, and you're going to serve their gods. And what happened? We see a perfect example right here. Solomon went and he had sex with these other nations. Had how many wives? 700. And he had 300 concubines of the spoils of war. You understand?
Right.
And all of them did what? Turned away his heart. That's what happened. You understand? And we go on to read. It says his heart was not perfect with the Most High God. Why was his heart not perfect with the Most High God anymore? Because he went and he had sex with these women, and they imposed their gods and their beliefs on him. And you have to understand that is in the nature of all heathen women, all of them, and men. For you sisters out there, if you get with a heathen man, you might call yourself being an Israelite. You might say, yeah, I'm an Israelite. I know I'm an Israelite. I keep the law, statutes, commandments, all of that. If you decide one day that you feel like you can go and have sex with a white man and become his wife, you're going to serve white Jesus. And not only are you going to serve white Jesus, that man is going to be now your slave master. You're going to serve him. You understand? Because that's what this is. That's the spirit in why we can't be with them. Like there's a spirit to that law. You understand? Right. You see the letter of the law, it's placed right there. And then we see it coming into full effect with Solomon. We saw it come into full effect with Ahab. And the spirit on them is that manipulation. So now going back into the topic, we're about to close out, right? But going back into the topic, I just wanted to read this, all right? Anybody could look it up on your own. You could just look up what makes a person a sociopath, or you can look up sociopathy, or you can look up ASPD, all right? So this is what a sociopath is. It says those with ASPD have no regard for others' rights or feelings, lack empathy and remorse for wrongdoings, and have the need to exploit and manipulate others for personal gain. That is what a sociopath is. And that's what Jezebel was. And you might want to examine yourself. If you're a sister, you might want to examine yourself and see if you have any of these traits, because you might be a sociopath. That's the true spirit of Jezebel. You gonna say something?
No, that's crazy that you say it, because it's true. It's a lot of women out there, you know what I'm saying, that do think like that. You know what I'm saying? Oh no, I'm not wrong. You're wrong.
That's fucking excuse me. That's like it. That is a sociopath.
That is a sociopath, sis. You a sociopath. You know, you saying that, you know, you hurting yourself, and it's because of you. Right. You know, you cutting yourself. It's because of you. Right. I'm doing this because of you. And it's like, you know, it's always everybody else's problem, but never yours. You know what I'm saying? You a sociopath.
And then it says also lack empathy and remorse for wrongdoings. Like, that's basically what you just said. Like you saying, like, I'm not wrong, but it goes even as far as like, if you cheat, you know, oh my God. So there was, y'all ever heard, like, seen where somebody gets cheated on, right? Like it's a man that gets cheated on, and the woman's like, she's like, you know, I got something to tell you. I cheated on you. I had sex with another man, right? And the dude be like, damn, and just sit there and be like, because he taking it all in. Y'all ever seen the woman be like, well, don't just sit there, say something. Y'all ever seen that? Yeah. Like you expect this man, after you done told him that you have committed adultery against him, you expect him to sit here and have a conversation with you. Like you deserve a conversation. And then now you're wrong for getting upset. You understand? That's that same spirit. But I mean, it can be as small as, like you said, like, no, I'm not wrong. You're the one that's wrong. You're wrong for this. You know, you got to understand these things and really just examine yourself. And you're going to have to, and this is the thing about being in the truth, you're going to have to tell yourself the thing that doesn't feel good sometimes. Like sometimes it don't feel good to tell yourself, listen, I'm wrong. Damn, I do this. I am a manipulative person. You understand? I don't care. I find myself being, you know, I don't care for, you know, other people's feelings. Like think about when, think about what it takes to be the type of woman that Jezebel was. She didn't care about nobody. She didn't care about her husband's feelings. You know what she said? Get up and eat. I'm gonna just go killing myself. You understand? She didn't care about nothing, right? But that's the point. That is the spirit of Jezebel, that manipulation. You understand? Go ahead. You say something?
No, that's right. That you said that, you know, because she could have just comforted him.
That's my point. Exactly.
She could have comforted like a woman should, you know.
Right.
You're there to comfort your husband. You know what I'm saying? You know what? We could make our own better vineyard. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But nah, like in her mind, it's like, you know what? Let me satisfy my, you know, sociopath, you know, demon, and, you know, murder this brother, this righteous brother, to comfort not my husband but myself. And that's really what it was for. It's not for her husband. Right. It's for herself. Because exactly. If it was for her husband, she would have ate. She would have, you know, she would try to and you know, lift up his spirit instead of, you know, murder the brother. You know what I'm saying?
Because it was obvious that King Ahab didn't want to kill the brother. You can understand that, right? It's obvious that King Ahab didn't want to kill the brother. Otherwise, he would have. But he decided, no, I'm going to go home and pout about it. Now, was he a sucker for that? Absolutely. But you know what's even worse is that his wife saw that, and she didn't think about consoling him or nothing. She decided, oh, no, because that's that power effect. You understand? Her being the so-called queen, right? That's that power effect that she has. She felt like she could go and take it into her own hands. You understand? And then, of course, like you said, it was not in the interest of Ahab. It was in her own interest. And that's that. The sister said, she said narcissistic. That's that narcissism. You understand? Narcissistic and manipulative people are oftentimes insecure. That's absolutely true. You understand? But that's that narcissism. And narcissist, she said she's going to do what she wanted to do no matter what. And she did it. She found a way to do it. She wanted to kill niggas. She found a way to do it. You understand? Right. And she disregarded her husband. Right? You gonna say something?
No, that's about it.
Man, listen. So that's what you did. So let's just understand this: that the spirit of Jezebel is not in the clothes you wear now. Should you dress like a woman? Absolutely. Dress like a woman. Dress modestly. Don't dress like a slut. If you dress like a slut, that's the spirit of a slut, spirit of a whore. It's not the spirit of Jezebel, though. The spirit of Jezebel is the other thing that if you dress like that, you probably do have the spirit of Jezebel also. But it doesn't necessarily. They don't go hand in hand. You understand? Point being is, that's what the spirit of Jezebel is, man. It's that sociopath, manipulative, you know, like the sister said, narcissistic behavior. That's what it is. So you really should check yourself, because a lot of sisters have those traits, and because they're a sociopath, they don't want to acknowledge it. What you have to do in this truth, the scriptures say, examine yourselves. You understand? Right. That's what the Bible tells you to do. Examine yourself. See if you're really in this thing or not. See if you're the type of person that you're supposed to be or not. You know,
I was just thinking, man, some sisters think like that because they believe that's a way to live or survive. You know what I'm saying? I mean, come on, man. You crazy. That's all I gotta say, man. You crazy. You wicked. You know what I'm saying? And one day you'll see. You know what I'm saying? One day you'll the Most High will teach you, you know what I'm saying, the other side for being disgusting and wicked. You know what I'm
saying? Yeah, that's real. Sister said accountability. That's exactly what you have to do. You're gonna have to take accountability for the way that you act. And there's so many people. I'm not even just gonna hold it to the sisters. Sisters, it's a big problem amongst, you know, Black and Hispanic women, but with the men too. Right. And because that pride steps in. Some of you brothers might have the spirit of Jezebel. So you might have the spirit of Jezebel. You understand? So that spirit is not I just wanted to. The reason why I wanted to do this is because a lot of people need to understand what that spirit is.
Like R. Kelly. R. Kelly is one of them. You know what I'm saying? Making you believe that what he did wasn't even wrong.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, like,
yeah, he stood up in that interview and said, "Why y'all trying to, y'all tired of this? Y'all trying to make me the bully? I mean, y'all trying to make me the what did he say? I can't remember what he said. He said, y'all trying to make me out to be the evil one here, or something crazy like that. Just be, man, listen, that's that narcissistic sociopath behavior. You understand?
Right.
It's a terrible thing. And we gotta have to, we're gonna have to figure out how to get up out of that thing, man. You have to start coming to class, stay up in these classes, and do a little bit of self-examination. Because listen, you come sit in this class, we'll find you out. We'll find out exactly what kind of behavior you got going on. You understand? So you gonna say something?
That's it.
All right, with that,
That's it about that.
We'll go ahead and close out. All right. I would advise everybody before we close. I would advise everybody to read, really read the Book of Kings, the Book of Samuel, and the Book of Chronicles. You should do that. It's excellent history on the nation of Israel. It's not going to take that long to read either. You read it if you read it every day, a few chapters every day. You'll get it done in a couple of weeks. It's absolutely important to understand the history of Israel. But just to go over what we went over, so I want everybody to read this one, so Laki, before we close out. Y'all should definitely read. Yeah, read 1 Kings, the 18th chapter. That'll tell you a lot about Ahab. It'll tell you a lot about Jezebel, and it'll tell you a lot about Elijah. That's my favorite chapter to go into, and understanding the spirit of Elijah and understanding the spirit of UPK. All right. Read 1 Kings 18. That's an excellent chapter. All right. But read the whole thing. Read all of it. All right. With that being said, we'll close out. Just met up here. Magic. Just makes a stand. Close out with the prayers. So Imagine Panya Hakudam.
We're going to start with the Lord's Prayer. Abanau, Shabbat Shemayim, Kodash, Haya, Shemka, Yahweh, Malakutka, Taba'ah, Ratazaka, Haya, Aisha, Ba'aratza, Kawa, Haya, Bashemayim, Natananau, Lacham, Kal, Yawam, Wasalaknau, Kawathinau, Hasalaknau, Kawathinau, Wala'ah, Tabayana, Manasaya 1, Abal, Hawashai Mayan, Rai, Kaya, Laka, Hamalakwa, Wa'ala, Wahata Parat, La'ai Aman.
The Lord's Prayer in English. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Yahweh, thy kingdom come. That will be done in earth. As it is in heaven. Give us this day. Our daily bread. And forgive us our debts. As we forgive our debtors. And lead us not to temptation. But deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom. And the power. And the glory. Forever. So be it.
We're going to read Hakad, which means the power in the Hebrew. Yahweh. Ba'ashem Yahushai. Babu Kashah. Nathanahu. Hakat. Larapa'ah. Kama Ka'ala. Kama Dawa. Hakat. Latahar. Hamat Zariah. Hakat. Lakwayam. Hamathyam. Hakat. Arakawa. Hatama'ala, Lagarshan, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Wadaman.
All right, the Hakat, the power in English. Yahweh. In the name of Yahushai. Please give us the power. The power to heal all manner of sickness. And all manner of disease. The power to cleanse the lepers. The power to raise the dead. The power against unclean spirits. To cast them out. In the name of Yahushai.
Thank you, so be it. Psalms 121 in the Hebrew. Asha'ah, Ayanya, Al, Aha, Slide, Ha, Slide, Hahaharyam, Ma'ayan, Yaba'ah, Isaiah, Ma'aim, Yahweh, Aisha, Shamayam, Waratza, Ayathan, Lamawat, Ragalka, Ayanawam, Shamarka, Hana, La'ah, Yanawam, Wala'ah, Yeshan, Shawamar, Yashrala, Yahweh, Shamarka, Yahweh, Tazalka, Ayad, Yamyaka, Yawumam, Hashamash, La'ah, Yakaka, Wayarak, Balayala, Yahweh, Yashamarka, Makara, Yashamar, Athnapashka, Yahweh, Yashamar, Tazaatka, Wuba'aka, Ma'aitha, Iwalam.
All right, Psalms 121 in the English. I will lift up mine eyes into the hills.
I will lift up mine eyes into the hills.
From whence cometh my help?
From whence cometh my help?
My help cometh from Yahweh.
My help cometh from Yahweh,
which made heaven and earth.
which made heaven and earth.
He will not suffer thy foot to be moved.
He will not suffer thy foot to be moved.
He that keepeth thee will not slumber.
He that keepeth thee will not slumber.
Behold,
Behold,
he that keepeth Yashar'Allah
he that keepeth Yashar'Allah
shall neither slumber nor sleep.
shall neither slumber nor sleep.
Yahweh is thy keeper.
Yahweh is thy keeper.
Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand.
Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand.
The sun shall not smite thee by day,
The sun shall not smite thee by day,
nor the moon by night.
nor the moon by night.
Yahweh shall preserve thee from all evil.
Yahweh shall preserve thee from all evil.
He shall preserve thy soul.
He shall preserve thy soul.
Yahweh shall preserve thy going out
Yahweh shall preserve thy going out
and thy coming in
and thy coming in
from this time forth
from this time forth
and even forevermore.
and even forevermore. Psalms the 8th. Allahayim.
Allahayim.
Al Dama Yalaka.
Adama Yalaka.
Al Thakarash.
Al-Thakarash.
Wa Al Thashakwa.
Al-Thashakwa.
Al
Al.
Kaya.
Kaya.
Kayahana.
Kayana.
Awayabyaka.
Awayabika.
Yahama Yawan.
Yahamayu one.
Ra'ash.
Ra'ash.
Amaka.
Al-Amaku.
Ya'iri Yumwa.
Yawayamu.
Sawada.
Sawada.
Wayatha.
Wayatha.
Ya'aitizawa.
Yaitizawa.
Altazapawanyaka.
Altazafa Wanyaka.
Amarwa.
Amaru.
Lakawa.
Lakawa.
Wanakakidam.
Wanakakidam.
Magalia.
Magalia.
Wala'a.
Wala'a.
Yazakar.
Yazakar.
Sham Yasharala.
Shem Yashar'Allah.
Awada.
Awada.
Kaya.
Kaya.
Nawaitizawa.
Nawaitizawa.
Laba.
Laba.
Yakadwa.
Yakadwa.
Al Yakab.
Al-Yakab.
Baryath.
Baryat.
Wayakar. Yakarathwa.
Yakarath.
Ahalia.
Ahali.
Adawam.
Adawam.
Wayashma'aliyam.
Yashma'ali.
Mawaba.
Mawa'ab.
Wahagariam.
Wagari.
Gabal.
Gabal.
Wa'amiwan.
Waimawan.
Wa'amalak.
Waimalak.
Halashat.
Halasha.
Amyashabya.
Amyashabya.
Tazawar.
Tazawar.
Gamashawar.
Gamashawar.
Nalawat.
Nalawat.
Imam.
Imam.
Hayawab.
Aywa.
Zarawad.
Sarawat.
Labanyalawat.
Labayalawat.
Salah.
Salah.
Aishalaham.
Ashalaham.
Kamadyan.
Kamadi.
Kasaya.
Kasaya.
Sara'ah.
Sabara.
Kayabyan.
Kayabi.
Banakal.
Banakal.
Kayashwan.
Kayashwa.
Nashamadwa.
Nashamadwa.
Bayandara.
Bayandara.
Hayawab.
Ayawab.
Daman.
Daman.
La'adma.
La'adma.
Shayathamwa.
Shayatamu.
Nada.
Nada.
Yamawab.
Yamawab.
Kairab.
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 Wakaza Abba.
Kaza Abba.
Wakaza Bak.
Wakazabak.
Wakatizal.
Wakatazal.
Mana'ai.
Manahai.
Kal.
Kal.
Nasaya.
Nasaya.
Yakamwa.
Yakamu.
Ashar.
Ashar.
Amarwa.
Amarwa.
Nayarashah.
Nairashah.
Lana.
Lana.
Ath.
Ath.
Nawath.
Nawat.
Alahayam.
Alahaya.
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 Shayathamwa.
Shaytamwa.
Kagalgala.
Kagagala.
Kakwash.
Kakwas.
Lapanya Rakar.
Lapayurika.
Ka'ash.
Ka'ash.
Taba Ira.
Taba Ira.
Ya Ira.
Ya Ira.
Wakal. Wakala Habab,
Kalaba,
Talahat,
Talat,
Harayam,
Aryam,
Khan,
Khan,
Taridatma,
Aradaba,
Basa Iraka,
Basarika,
Wabasa,
Wabasa,
Wapatka,
Wapaska,
Tabahalam,
Tabahalam,
Mala'al,
Mala'a,
it's like Mala'a,
Mala'a,
Panyaham,
Panyaham,
Walawan,
Kalawan,
Wayakapashwa,
Wayakapashwa,
Shamka,
Samka,
Yahawa,
Yahweh,
Yabashwa,
Yabashu,
Wayabawa,
Yabawa,
Aidiyad,
Ajahai,
Wayakaparwa,
Kaparwa,
Wayabadwa,
Wayabadwa,
Wayadaiwa,
Wayadaiwa,
Kayatha,
Kayatha,
Shamka,
Samka,
Yahawa,
Yahweh,
Labadka,
Labadka,
Alyuwan,
Ayuwan,
Al,
Al,
Kal,
Kal,
Haratazar.
Psalms 83 in English. Keep not thou silence, O Yahweh.
Keep not thy silence, O Yahweh.
Hold not thy peace,
Hold not thy peace,
and be not still, O God.
and be not still, O God.
For lo,
For lo,
thine enemies make a tumult,
thy enemies make a tumult,
and they that hate thee have lifted up their head.
and that they hate thee have lifted up the head.
They have taken crafty counsel against thy people,
They have taken crafty counsel against thy people,
and consulted against thy hidden ones.
and consulted against thy hidden ones.
They have said,
They have said,
Come,
Come,
and let us cut them off from being a nation,
and let us cut them off from being a nation,
that the name of Yasharallah
that the name of Yahshua
may be no more in remembrance.
may be no more in remembrance.
For they have consulted together with one consent.
For they have consulted together with one consent.
They are confederate against thee,
They are confederate against thee,
the tabernacles of Edom,
the tabernacles of Edom,
and the Ishmaelites,
the Ishmaelites,
of Moab,
of Moab,
and the Agarim,
and the Hagarenes,
Gabal,
Gabal,
and Ammon,
and Ammon,
and Amalek,
and
the
Amalek,
Philistines,
the Philistines,
with the inhabitants of Tyre.
with the inhabitants of Tyre.
Assur also is joined with them.
And so also is joined with them.
They have hope in the children of Lot.
They have hope in the children of Lot.
Salah.
Salah.
Do unto them as unto the Midianites,
Do unto them as unto the Midianites,
as to Sisera,
as to Sisera,
as to Jabin,
as to Jabin,
at the brook of Kasan,
at the brook of Kasan,
which perished at Endor.
which perished at Endor.
They became as dung for the earth.
They became as dung for the earth.
Make their nobles like a red,
Make their nobles like a red,
and like Ze'er.
and like Zahir.
Yea,
Yea,
all their princes as Zabah,
all their princes as Zabah,
and as Amunah,
and as Amunah,
who said,
who said,
Let us say to ourselves,
Let us take to ourselves
the houses of Yahweh
the house of Yahweh
in possession.
in possession.
Oh my God,
Oh my God,
make them like a wheel,
make them like a wheel,
as the stubble before the wind,
as the stubborn before the wind,
as the fire burneth the wood,
as the fire burneth the wood,
and as the flame setteth the mountains on fire.
and as the flames set the mountains on fire.
So persecute them with thy tempest,
So persecute them with thy tempest,
and make them afraid with thy storm.
and make them afraid with thy storm.
Fill their faces with shame,
Fill their faces with shame,
that they may seek thy name.
that they may seek thy name,
O Yahweh,
O Yahweh.
let them be confounded in trouble forever.
Let them be confounded in trouble forever.
Yea,
Yea,
let them be put to shame and perish.
let them be put to shame and perish.
Then they may know that thou,
That may we know that thou,
whose name alone
whose name alone
is Yahweh,
is Yahweh,
are the most high over all the earth.
art the most high over all the earth. We're going to read the blessings in the Hebrew. Barakatha Yahweh,
Rakatha Yahweh,
wa Yahweh
Wa Yahweh Shai,
wa Mayaka'ala,
Wa Ma'aka Allah,
wa Alahayim,
Wa Alahayim,
Matazab Ya'ah,
Matazab Ya'ah,
Alawab Yahana,
Alawab Yahan,
Ha Alawabyam,
Alawabim,
Hasaranyam,
Asaranyu,
Hakwatazayanyam,
Akwatazayanyu,
Hakayayalyam,
Akayayanyu,
Wahakwathim,
Wa Agwathi,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Bahashem Yahushai,
Hashem Yahweh Shai,
the water of man.
the one I know. All right, the blessings in English. Bless you, Yahweh,
Bless you, Yahweh,
and Yahweh Shai,
and Yahushai,
and Michael,
and Michael,
and the angels,
and the angels,
Commanding General Yohanan,
Commander Yohanan,
the generals,
the generals,
the captains,
the captains,
the officers,
the officers,
the troopers,
the troopers,
and the sisters.
and the sisters.
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
in the name of Yahweh Shai,
in the name of Yahushai,
thank you, so be it.
thank you, so be it.
All right, Psalm 1 Yahweh, be seated. Brother, you want to get another word? All right. All right, so we're gonna say these prayers. So we say these prayers, and then of course, try to get the right one. For some reason, I don't know what the hell it is. why that was like that. All right, so we're gonna say these prayers. We point to you, say your name 3 times, all right? Yabaraki Yahweh.
Yabaraki Yahweh.
Waya Shamarka.
Ya Shamarka.
Ya Ar Yahweh.
Ar Yahweh.
Pan Yahweh.
Pan Yahweh.
Al Yakun.
Al Yakun.
Waya Kunka.
When you conquer.
Yasha Al Yahweh.
It's like
Yasha Al Yahweh.
Yasha Al Yahweh.
Pan Yahweh.
Pan Yahweh.
Al Yakun.
Al Yakun.
Waya Shamlaka.
Waya Shamlaka.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Basham.
Bahashem.
Yahushai.
Yahushai.
Barak.
Barak.
Rapa.
Rapa.
Magan.
Magan.
Hagan.
Magan.
Kabarama.
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 Basham Yahushai.
Bahashem Yahushai.
Waraman.
The Waraman.
All right, what we just said in the English was, Yahweh bless thee and keep thee. Yahweh make his face shine upon thee and be gracious unto thee. Yahweh lift up his countenance upon thee and give thee peace. Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, bless, he will shield, protect, and bottom up. All right, so with that, we're going to go ahead and close out. We'll salute out the Sabbath service. Amayim Shabbat. Amayim Barak. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai B'Rakatham. Yadi Matah. Dismissed.